All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. And we're still here. I want to take you to the few pictures that I've taken. I've been watching the Discord. I've been watching Kelly's Clapper app. The way I'm seeing it is we're on a trip to Disney World, for lack of a better, just heaven would be like a million times better than Disney World. But just think about it. You're a child. You're in the back seat. And we're on the way to Disney World, and every 5 minutes you're asking, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Well, we're in the season. I still believe it's 2023. It's during this Hanukkah season. And even though we believe there's this delay that's going on, there really isn't, because the day that God chose was chosen before the foundations of the world. And when we get to heaven, it's going to line up perfectly. We're going to be like, oh, I didn't see that, or now that makes complete sense. So the kids are in the back seat going to Disney World, and they keep asking over and over again. You're like, stop fighting back there. You want me to pull this car over? And or we can just turn around and go back home. They're like, no, we want to go. How much longer? Well, we have, I'm driving, so I can't do the math for you, but we have 1,000 miles to go, and we're going 60 miles an hour. Figure it out. The kids are in the back seat with their phones and calculators and trying to figure out, well, if we go this far, and then they're inevitably wrong because you have to take pit stops, you have to fuel up the car and everything else on the way there. But the father's already mapped everything out and knows exactly, with all the stops and eating and fueling up, exactly when they're going to arrive um, at Disney World, the hotel stays and everything else on the way there. So that's where we're at right now. We're in that getting their moment, and we're just going to keep going forward and keep the kids entertained. God is like the father driving the car, going, "You figure it out." And the kids are in the back going, "Well, if we're they, of course, they're trying, but they can't quite figure it out. They're just dreaming about getting there, and they're back there either arguing or just talking about how great it's going to be. I saw this on television. They've never been there. I saw this on television. When you get there, we're going to ride this ride, and we're going to eat this and do that, and all the different things that I don't know if if everybody in here's been to Disney World, or I've been to both Disney World and Disneyland. So I actually prefer Disneyland out in California because it's more rustic, uh, more old school. I enjoy that more than I do the new one here in Florida. So anyway, let me get into a few pictures and see where we're at. All right. You know that if you put a filter on a camera and go outside and leave that camera stationary for 1 full year and take a picture of the sun every week, it will be the identical picture every single year. Exactly like this. It goes in a figure eight. We know eight means infinity. We also know that that sun, from our perspective, doesn't change. Each year, it will land in the same spot. We know this because on March 16th, the day is 12 hours in the day and 12 hours a night. It never ever moves. It's always 12 hours a day and 12 hours at night. It doesn't matter that the sun moves a constellation every 2,160 years. It doesn't matter that the moon's out of sync and goes around 29 and a half days. It doesn't matter that our month is actually 30 days and 30 days, 0.333, and on to infinity. That's how many days are in each month. So it never changes. And that's, I think, the problem is people are looking at the moon, they're looking at the sun, they're looking at the constellations, they're trying to set when things are happening. But the one thing that never changes, ever, is that March 16th will always be the day of equal parts. So, where's March 16th at here? It's up there, I believe it's towards the left in the center. At the bottom is Hanukkah. At the top is the summer solstice, June. On the bottom, so this entire circuit goes from the bottom at 23.5 degrees, it crosses the equator and goes to the top again at 23.5 degrees for a total of 47 degrees from bottom to top. Now, I printed this out and I put the dates on here. At the bottom again is Hanukkah. At the top is the summer solstice. On either side is the equator. You can see the equator there. The day of equal parts on the right-hand side will be March 16th. On the left side, it's September to the 26th. It's offset by 6 months and 10 days. I don't know why. 6 months, 11 days. I don't know why it's offset. Why it's not exactly the same on either side. There's something happened during the flood where the head of the year used to be in September. It shifted during the flood to be in March. That's why God changed the head of the year from September, because now September begins the winter season. Whereas previous to the flood, September began the summer season, or the spring, just like March 16th begins the spring. So we go down here and we're looking at these dates right here. Look over here, 22 degrees, 24 degrees. That dotted line is 23.5 degrees. That's as far as the sun goes south of the equator, and it's as far as the sun goes north of the equator. The earth is fixed and it does not move. That's the passage that everybody uses to proclaim a flat earth. But what it actually means is the earth is always pointed north at Ursa Minor. Previous to the flood, I think it shifted. And that's why when Noah was up in the air on the water underneath, the earth shifted. You barely noticed it above water. It shifted on that day during the flood, and it took 10 days for that shift to take place. Now, that's all just me as I'm trying to understand why spring and summer spring and fall would switch places. So here we are. Notice here, 23 degrees. The dotted line is 23.5 degrees. It enters the 23-degree mark on December the 8th. It enters the 23.5-degree mark on December the 15th, which is Hanukkah. It comes into the 23 and hits the 23.5 on Hanukkah, the last day of Hanukkah and the beginning day of Hanukkah. It proceeds through and it comes back out over here out of the 23.5-degree mark on December the 30th. So we have a total of 15 days where it's in the 23.5-degree mark. We have 15 days where it enters the 23-degree mark and hits the 23.5, and then we have another 7 days after it leaves the 23.5-degree mark and hits the 23-degree mark. So there's 28 days in here where it stays in this part and then it starts to come back out. This is the darkest time of the northern hemisphere. This is the brightest time. This is the summertime for the southern hemisphere, for Australia, for example. They are now coming into the most heat of summer right now, just like we would be if we were up here in June. You see where the sun comes around to the 23-degree mark on June, looks like about June 7th, June 8th. It stays in the 23.5-degree mark for the total of 15 days, 7 and 7 on either side, and then it comes back out on uh, what is it, July the 5th, I think it is. So that's for us summer, and that point right there is very cold for Australia. But this is the circuit of the sun. Isn't it amazing that it is an 8? Now, of course, like to say, hey, today's December the 8th. This would be a perfect day for the rapture, and it kind of still is. Any moment, really, the rapture can occur. It doesn't have to. There's nothing that we need to see right now for the rapture to occur. We are in that day. Remember, I've showed you my timeline several times where it seems that after September, it becomes a day off. I can't quite account for it, but it does. And so today would be the 24th Was it 9/24? Um, is it Kislev 24? Today would be that day, but here we are on the 8th in the evening. So it might just be that, and I've seen this where God began creating time or creating everything at nightfall. He didn't start in the morning, he started at nightfall. So on September the 10th at nightfall, he began creating everything. So September the 11th, when it became nightfall, was September the 11th. That was the first day that he created. He created time on September, was it the 14th or 15th? And you can see that in the figure eight as it goes through that period of time. All right, let me, whoops, I messed that all up. Hold on. Here we go. So anytime here during Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights is a good time. Um, Jesus could come. Jesus could wait to the very end of Hanukkah. I mean, he's God, so he can do what he wants. It's our understanding of these scriptures. We want to understand. We want to know when it's going to happen. It's our pleasure and it's his joy as we seek it out. It is not a bad thing to try to figure this out. Every now and again, I get a comment, not very often, but every now and again, you're wrong all the time. I'm literally not wrong because this is the circuit of the sun. This is what happens during this time. And this time is a high rapture watch time. I'm not saying the rapture is going to happen, it has to happen, but this is a very high watch time. And as much as I'd like to say, definitely it's going to happen, as far as I can see, this is where we are, and it is a very high rapture watch time right now. All right. So again, each date that we have, you can't jump. These are big stones. You just can't leap and miss a stone. You got to go on each stone, just like Elijah was. They confronted Elisha, say, "Don't you know that your master's leaving today?" Well, he didn't. They went to another town, and then again, "Don't you know your master's leaving today?" Well, he didn't. They went to another town. They finally wind up, I believe, at Jordan and crossing the river, and uh, I imagine that Elisha did not believe that it was going to happen, which is why he stayed. But he got a double portion. He is a saint of the tribulation, and he got the full armor of God. But you can't skip these stones. You've got to go. Imagine this, but it's foggy. You can't see the next stone. And the water's traveling so fast you can't hear it. So you don't know how far away the other side is. But we're almost to the other side, I believe. I believe we're coming up on these last stones as we jump from stone to stone. We're almost there. So I've showed you that before. That is the place we're saving people from is not from the millennium. It's not from the tribulation. We're saving them, or God has entrusted us to get this word out, to plant these seeds. We're not here to convert anyone. We're not here to make anyone believe us, but we are here to plant those seeds that when we say, hey, the rapture could happen, and they scoff at that and laugh at that, that when it does happen, they're like, oh, great. They were right. I know exactly what happened. And what will they do? They will not receive the mark. They will know what happened, and they're going to get into their Bibles and really start studying it. So keep planting those seeds. Even though it appears as nobody's listening, just keep planting those seeds. We don't want anyone, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, to go to the lake of fire. We want them to hear and believe. All right, where are we at right now? Remember, I showed you the circuit of the sun. We're right here. On December the 7th, again, I've got that 1 day off problem. So today, on this timeline, Hanukkah begins. I know, and I adopted the theory that yesterday was the day because the entire world is looking at yesterday as the day. But I've seen some work with the men and women in the Clapper app and on Discord, my Discord, where they're saying, wait a second, they might have lit that candle on the 7th, but it actually doesn't begin until the 8th. And then I've even heard some say that it begins on the 11th. So exactly when we're run into this problem each and every time, and that is we don't know what calendar is being used, but we know we're in the season. We don't know the exact day yet, but we know we're in the season. I believe Kislev 24 is the day. We just don't know what Gregorian date to assign to it. Today, December the 8th, would be the day that we assign to Kislev 24. It might be it might be that the rapture occur at the last, which for me, Eastern Standard Time, 4 a.m. ends this December the 8th all the way around the world. I don't know what time that is for you, but Eastern Standard Time at 4 a.m., it no longer is December the 8th anywhere on planet Earth. Does God wait for the absolute end of December the 8th? I don't know. Right smack in the middle of that, the flood ends. The Bible records that on Kislev 27, which I think is December the 11th, remember I catch up with it back here. You can see January 1st, December the 31st, December the 25th, December the 24th. I recognize there's a day issue, so I start adding to the end of it the extra day because I'm not quite sure where that extra day falls. I'm beginning to think that it falls back here during the Feast of Trumpets. I think that the Feast of Trumpets, because I run into the problem with Jesus' birthday, him being born on the 30th, it's actually September the 29th is the day it lands. So we go forward here. We land. The 40-day flood, the duration of the 40-day flood ends on December the 11th. That is Kislev 27. We find in extra biblical books that Adam was removed from the garden on the last day of Hanukkah, which would be December the 16th. Tevet 1. Adam is removed on that day. So a lot goes on during this period of time. And we see that Mary conceives here on December the 25th, because exactly 40 weeks from that moment right there, you add it up, add 280 days, 40 weeks from December the 25th, you will land on over here on Jesus being born on Tabernacles, Sukkot, which is September the 30th. So we're in this window right now, these 8 days. We've also read passages where it says, yeah, it, Hanukkah begins on December the 8th, but it ends on December the 15th, 16th. And we've read passages where we wait for the 8 days. I believe even Brenda Weltner is stating that we are changed. I'm not sure that's accurate, but she does make the statement that we are changed. We stay here for 7 days, and on the 8th day we rise up. She might be seeing this right here. She might not quite be understand what she's seeing. We weren't changed. But of course, the day's not over with yet until 4 a.m. But we're not changed yet, right? So maybe we're just in a waiting period of time now for the next 8 days. So let me keep going here. I got a clearer, cleaner view of this. What do they call these things? It's not a barcode. It's a UPC code or whatever. You can go and take a picture of this. People were saying the other one was too blurry, but this one's a little bit better, and you can go in there. And this is a good piece of information, a lot of information on this for the left behind, which is super important that they have that. Now, I noticed from the first day of creation, September the 11th, you go 88 days, and it lands on today. And there's that 8 again, the circuit of the sun. We see that 8 all the time. Circuit of the sun, we see December the 8th as being the beginning of Hanukkah. God is infinite, infinity, which is the number 8. This happened on our sun. I don't know what it means. I don't know if this happens very often, but that hole in the sun can actually fit, what did it say? I think 50 Earths can fit in there from side to side, not even top to bottom, side to side. That's how big this rift is in the sun. So we are seeing signs in the sun, moon, and stars. It's happening just like the Bible said it would, and we're seeing it. I think we're right in it right now. Supernatural by Design. He did a video which I thought was pretty good. We're finally here this season of Esther rapture. So he's looking at this season right here, Tibet 10 month. He's according to my timeline, he's off by 2 days. December the 15th would be Tibet 1, but still, he's right there in the window. Okay, this is something that we've all heard about. Um, there is an asteroid, which how incredible is it that Beetlejuice? We had a movie called Beetlejuice. Remember, Beetlejuice is in the news all the time now, and somehow, and this thing's 700 light years away. If you were traveling at the speed of light, it would take you 700 years to get to Betelgeuse. So anything that happened on Betelgeuse that we might see today, like they're saying it's about to explode, imagine this happening in our short lifetime during this period of time that we're watching for a rapture. Something like that occur. If Betelgeuse had exploded 700 years ago, just now we might see that event take place if it happened 700 years ago. Whatever happened that we see now occurred 700 years prior. But now we have this comet come through our solar system, and apparently it will block out Betelgeuse. And I believe I got this off of I heard this on the Clapper app, Cool Cats Clapper app, but people in there were talking about it. But how incredible is it that this asteroid's coming through our solar system and it blocks Betelgeuse, which I believe I heard from in there that Betelgeuse is in the constellation of Orion. And we know that Orion is spoke of when speaking about Job. And I don't know if you're going through it, but I'm going through it. I hear a lot of the people saying, I can't take much more. I'm at the end. Financially, physically, emotionally, a lot of people are just expressing that they just can't wait much longer. Keep waiting. Keep waiting. God will keep you. He might allow Satan to come at you, but he's not going to kill you. He's going to come at you though. He's going to allow it to prove who you are. So while we don't like this trial that we're going through right now, it will be something that will enhance your specific skill set when you get to heaven and you rule and reign with Christ during that 1,000 years. So embrace it. It's not fun. It's not easy. But even Job was like, of course I believe you, God, but why? Why? And he's like, who are you to question me? And he talks about Orion. So it's kind of a big deal that we're seeing this blockage. And now this happens on Monday, the 11th. It happens at 8:17 p.m. and I guess it lasts for 12, is it 12 seconds? I don't recall. 12 seconds or 12 minutes? 12 seconds, I think. So that's kind of interesting. And of course, we just saw that the 11th is the very center of the Hanukkah. It's also the day that God remembered Noah and ended the flood after 40 days. So that's kind of incredible that that's happening right now. Yeah, the kids are in the back seat. Are we there yet? Just keep screaming, and Jesus is like, almost, soon. How many times have we heard soon, soon? They've been hearing that for 2,000 years since the Bible was assembled. Soon, it's going to happen soon. So here we are. We're just watching and we're just waiting and dreaming of that moment where you're just standing here, you're sitting there, you're like, oh Lord, how? And I'm just like everybody else. I go to my knees and I pray, and I'm like, Lord, I thought we had this figured out this time. How long is this going to be? And I just keep, I'm not hearing it audibly, but I just keep getting this feeling soon, very soon. Just hang in there. You're getting one final lesson. Just hang in there. And it is very soon. At no point in history have we reached the 6,000 year mark, the 2,000 years from Christ, from the building of the mosque on the Temple Mount there, the Dome of the Rock, built 688 AD, 1,335 years brings us 2023. The Psalms that Cool Cat has looked at brings us to 2023. No other period in time has all of these things lined up as they are right now. So we just keep watching and keep hoping and praying that this is it. This is finally it. We're in the back seat, like they say. Commander Kelly says we're just kicking the back seat. When? But when we finally get there, we'll have a blast, and it's going to be. Have you ever gone through something so rough and you thought, I can't handle this. I can't. There's no way I can handle this. And then when you get to the other side, things are much better. And you're like, I probably could have handled another week of that. I probably could have handled a little bit more. But it's not the handling, it's the how long do you have to handle it. That's the question. How long are you going to go through that thing that you're going through? We're all going through something, I believe, as far as I can tell. Um, Everyone's going through different issues that they're in right now: medical, physical, mental, financial, you name it. We're going through it. It's almost like we're being refined here at the very end. And just hang in there because it's a rough road, but we're going to get to the other side. And then we're going to be like, yeah, if I'd known the date, I could have handled so much more. But God's like, I wanted to see what you could handle not knowing the date. I wanted to see what you could handle when you didn't know, the faith that you had without the knowledge that you now have. So that's a beautiful thing, I think. So stay strong, keep watching. If anything new like Beetlejuice pops up, or I mean, that's something like that, I mean, we're just the earthquakes are kind of tapered off. They're still going, but they're not like they didn't going crazy like they were. So we thought that volcano was going to explode. I think what in Iceland is that where it was, and then things got quiet. But that's just kind of how it works. It gets quiet and then it gets crazy. So hang in there because the road's going to get a little bit bumpier, but then the next thing you know, we'll be there. All right, go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody except the Lord in your heart. And we will see you on the other side in these glorious bodies. And what a beautiful day. What a beautiful day that will be. We will be there in our perfect, pain free bodies, able to do things that you could only dream of, and with our Creator. And just, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be wonderful. There will be no more stress, no more worry, no more pain, no more concern for anything. And we'll have what we have learned here on earth on our side. And I think that as we rule and reign, we'll bring the compassion with us as far as, oh, I went through that. That's rough. Yeah, I feel you. You still can't do that, but you know, you shouldn't do that, even though I know what you're going through. You see what I'm saying? This is a training ground that we're in, and we are going to go to heaven and utilize that skill set when we get there, as far as leading and guiding people through the millennium. And the end game there is what? Keep them out of the lake of fire. Rule and reign over them. Teach them. Jesus is the only way. So he is the only way. All right, that's it. We will chat with you again later. If anything jumps up, I'll be right back on here and bring it to you. My take on it as far as the timeline is concerned and where things fall. So, all right, we'll chat with you again later.